Next on Valley News Live at 10, President Trump makes history again, this time becoming the first president to be impeached twice.
We dig deep into hotel and motel safety after a man is shot at inside of Fargo Motel 6.
Plus, another night, another chance to win a giant lottery jackpot. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with breaking news for you this evening as 5 people were arrested in connection to an attack on a male victim at Mayville State University on Saturday. Authorities also say the search continues for a 6th man.
Police were called to a domestic assault outside Berg Hall on Mayville State campus. They now say it's conspiracy to commit murder. Oliver Barker, Norberto Zapata Sr., Omar Zapata, Felipe Zapata, and a juvenile are all in custody. The search continues for Norberto Zapata Jr. Sheriff Steve Hunt tells us he still isn't sure if the men knew the victim. The victim was reportedly beaten, stabbed, and run over with a car. The sheriff says his injuries are substantial.
We're now seeing those weather changes that Hutch has been talking about earlier today. Rain is moving through the area, and there's more to come after that. Let's find out the very latest from Hutch.
So much. Yes, we have wind and rain in the forecast for tonight, and that wind has gotten ridiculous out to the west, where in western North Dakota near the Hettinger area we've had gusts near 70 miles per hour, and in Bentley just a couple miles north of there 92 mile per hour gusts in that area. And in New England, North Dakota, if you know where that is, the gas station pumps were blown over. Look at Miles City, Montana, with over 70 mile per hour winds there. Now we have rain moving into Grand Forks. Notice the pink on the radar there. That's an area of the potential for some sleet, so we could have some slippery roads developing in many areas from the valley and points east as we go through the overnight, and some of us may get flat out heavy rain at times. Wind warning for dangerous winds in our western counties of North Dakota. Here's a winter weather advisory through Friday, but areas are expected to see some significant wind. And let's get this right out. Snowfall potential by the time you drive to work in the morning on Friday after this system becomes cold enough for snow. 3 to 6 inches for some. And now we're going to use the term blizzard possible for some areas. I'll have hour by hour details and we'll pinpoint these areas of largest concern for me coming up here in just a few moments.
Important information. We look forward to it. Thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
A Louisiana woman is speaking out tonight exclusively to Valley News Live after police say she fired a gun at a man at the Motel 6 in Fargo early this morning. Police say 32-year-old Demetria Joseph fired a gun toward a man in the motel hallway, but the shot didn't hit him. She tells Valley News Live she was only trying to protect her life. You can hear her interview on our website, valleynewslive.com. Fargo police say in 2020 alone, they responded to 384 calls for service at Motel 6, up from 253 calls the year before.
How much is safety an issue when you choose a hotel or motel? The next time you're looking to book, police recommend you do some homework. Valley News team Stacy Van Dyke is here to explain. Stacy?
Mike, after hearing that police paid a visit to the Motel 6 in Fargo more than 600 times in the past 2 years, we decided to call authorities and ask about other places to stay. We were told they don't keep a running tab on each location, and in this case, the numbers were determined because of a specific request. In other words, there's no way to find out about a place unless you file an open records request. However, you can look to a crime mapping feature. In Fargo's case, it's on the police department website. We have a link to that on valleynewslive.com. In fact, many communities offer this, and police say it's good practice before choosing a place to stay anywhere in the world. You won't find all crimes listed. In Fargo, you won't get information on things like narcotics or sex crimes, but it will give you updates on burglaries, vandalism, and others. Police also say that within the many calls to service at some motels and hotels, the vast majority were officer-generated, proactive measures to try and cut down on crime. It's not uncommon for officers to drive through parking lots looking for vehicles that were stolen or that belong to known criminals. And of course, authorities also rely on you. They say if you see something that looks suspicious, don't hesitate to give them a call. Mike?
Good advice. Thanks, Stacy. Fargo police have in the past offered hotel safety training classes, which offer employees warning signs to look out for, not only at the front desk, but in the rooms.
Mr. Speaker, let us not mince words about what happened last week. It was a violent attempt to interrupt our democratic process. It was a targeted blow at the most essential process that makes us a democracy. It was a direct and specifically incited by the President of the United States.
In his final days of office, Donald Trump became the first president in history to be impeached twice by Congress. Skylar Henry reports on another historic day in Washington.
The resolution is adopted.
In a U.S. Capitol crackling with tension, lawmakers voted to impeach President Trump, charging him with inciting an insurrection.
I am not choosing a side, I'm choosing truth. It's the only way to defeat fear.
10 Republicans joined Democrats in a 232 to 197 vote after hours of impassioned debate, making President Trump the first in history to be impeached twice.
He must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love.
And now it's impeachment round 2. It's always been about getting the president, no matter what.
The impeachment comes 1 week after a mob attacked the Capitol, following the president's message to supporters to fight much harder. Shortly after the vote, he released a videotaped statement.
I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement.
It'll take a 2/3 majority in the Senate to convict the president, but that trial isn't likely to begin until after the president leaves office next week. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he has not decided how he'll vote, but he reportedly sees the impeachment as an opportunity to distance the GOP from the divisive outgoing president. Speaker Pelosi has already named the 9 impeachment managers who will act as prosecutors. With the threat level described as very high, thousands of National Guard troops took position in Washington as the president stayed out of sight watching the impeachment unfold. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump did not address the impeachment in his video statement, but said he has directed federal agencies to use all necessary resources to maintain order in Washington.
The president, in his video statement, did denounce the attack on the United States Capitol a week ago. He said violence and vandalism have no place in our country, and the mob violence have no place in our country. North Dakota U.S. Senator Kevin Cramer said he appreciated the president's statement and agreed with it.
I thought it was fantastic. It would have been better a week ago. And he couldn't have said it better, I don't think. He was unequivocal. He was firm. He was 100% in his condemnation of the violence. And he's absolutely right about the shameful conduct of our big tech companies that seem to have no understanding or appreciation for the rights of Americans to express themselves in a peaceful manner.
In the interview that he did not agree with the president's comments at the rally a week ago, and that his comments condemning Mike Pence has put him in hot water with Republicans. You can find his full interview on the website valleynewslive.com.
Google is banning all political advertising until at least January 21st, the day after Joe Biden's inauguration. The ban covers multiple platforms, including YouTube. It comes after Google said it formally designated the Capitol riots, the impeachment process, and the inauguration as, quote, sensitive events. The company sent a letter to marketers that went into greater detail. Google will restrict ads referencing candidates, the election, its outcome, the inauguration, Trump's ongoing impeachment, violence at the Capitol, or future planned protests on those topics.
Officials are warning Americans not to mistake their new economic stimulus payments for junk mail. The IRS says 8 million people will receive their payments in debit cards mailed to their homes. That's on top of others who will get checks in the mail. Government officials are asking Americans to keep an eye on their mail and make sure they don't throw their payments away. AARP says some of its members have already done so after mistaking their payments for scams. The legitimate debit cards come in white envelopes with a Treasury Department seal. The cards have a Visa logo on the front, and they've been issued by MetaBank, which is displayed in the back. The IRS says taxpayers who received checks in the first economic stimulus last year could now receive debit cards and vice versa.
Hundreds of passengers go through security every day at North Dakota's 8 airports. TSA officials are trained by experts to spot explosives and other threats to passengers. There are 2 explosive specialists in North Dakota who train and educate TSA officers on explosive trends that may be a threat on flights. One of them received national recognition for the work he does in our state and in partnership with local law enforcement and bomb squads. In December, Shane Langerud was awarded the 2020 Transportation Security Specialist for explosives. He was nominated by coworkers.
Shane teaches at the local at the law enforcement academy here, and he advises the bomb squads around the state. So he's an asset to so many above and beyond us.
Langerud is currently working on his Master's of Education and is a 21-year retired member of the Marine Corps.
The State Department of Health is recruiting teens and young adults between the ages of 15 and 21 to serve on a youth advisory board. This board will provide a way for youth to make a difference in North Dakota communities by using their influence to plan, implement, and advise on meaningful projects and topics to improve the health of North Dakota youth. Board membership will consist of a diverse group of 20 North Dakota residents from various backgrounds. Department of Health staff says COVID-19 will be a part of the discussions.
How it's impacted them is going to be really important for us to hear what their needs are, even in regards to COVID, and what the aftermath of COVID will have on their generation.
Youth Advisory Board meetings will be held quarterly beginning in March.
Still ahead tonight, the pots for the Mega Millions and Powerball keep on climbing. We'll have those details next.
Many of us in the valley are fairly quiet right now, but changes are happening as we speak. Our temperatures, though, still quite marvelous as we head into the overnight hours. We'll have details on your first alert weather forecast for Friday. How much snow, when and where we may see blizzard conditions next.